Welcome, Early Childhood Division. I wish we could all be here together to talk about this, but I'm glad you're viewing. I do want to say that we are recording this presentation, so if you have friends or anyone or some of your family members who are unable to watch, we will send that link out later. I wanted to read a little intro to you, more than anything to let you know kind of where we are as a faculty. We have had 8 successful weeks of summer camp. We've had hours and hours of research and planning and preparation and deep discussion. And in these 8 weeks, we've really had time to have school. So having 50 students a day, I know that's not a full load, but we've been able to really look at our cleaning practices and our procedures and our logistics to prepare for August. We're strong, we're ready, we have systems and flow charts and people in place, and we're going to continue to create and build community. We're small, we're able to easily flex, pivot, adapt, and make a move for our students. We're doing what's best for Oakhill. You know, we've listened, we've heard, and we realize each family on this call comes from a very different place, a unique situation, and a different perspective. This plan is fluid, yet the plan is final as of today. We will make changes as deemed necessary for our community or as mandated. We are confident and I believe essential. Education is the most important variable in our world. It's an equalizer, it's a priority, and it's a necessity. Our children of all ages have already lost months of academics, months of learning accommodations, months of social interactions, and months of routine and normalcy. They're not behind, but they've lost those things. Children, our students, have to learn. Parents need educational options so they can work to survive and thrive. And all of us at Oakhill became teachers or chose to work in this field to deliver high quality education, to offer relationships and positive interactions to students and partner with you as families. We know we make a difference every day, and we're here for our students, here for our community, and here to deliver. So this is why we're in this noble and necessary field. This is our time. This is our moment to do what we do best. We have teachers and staff who are ready and willing to do just that. This plan was built around the philosophy of our educational model, in person and on campus. We have contingency plans in place to meet the ever-changing landscape of COVID-19. And truthfully, we're going to have to overcome hurdles and roadblocks. We're going to have to take detours and side trips, but we know we can overcome adversity. We've seen plenty of it this past year. We welcome your questions. Again, I know many of you have submitted questions. Please know that after this presentation, I'm sure I will not answer every unique situational question. Please contact me. I'd be happy to answer those via email or phone. So we'll go ahead and get started. So physical distancing is temporary and the Oakhill family is forever. You know, it's important for our entire staff to remember that and for you as families to realize, we are your family. We're very fortunate to be small, to have 2 buildings, small class sizes, very little red tape. We can flex in a heartbeat, and we will. Yesterday, I was talking with the Clay County Health Director yesterday afternoon, and he said we're very fortunate we have such a small environment. I can't even imagine trying to do what we're doing in a large institution. I do want to preface before we get started that early childhood is unique. Regardless of a mandate to close non-public schools, we would stay open as an early childhood division to continue to deliver education and care. Oakhill's approach. Again, I'm not going to read all of this word for word. You have the information, but some ask, why aren't you doing what other local public schools are doing? And for us, the answer is simple. We have to do what's best for Oakhill and our school community. Again, we've been able to spend the summer putting policies and procedures and people in place, and I feel like we're ready with the guidance of all of these institutions to meet the challenge head on. We decided to be very simplistic with our color code system. There is no real green this year, but our green is COVID year normal. That means face coverings, distancing, modifications as required or recommended. Yellow would be even more restrictions of the above. And then red would mean that for our students 1st through 8th grade, they would have to distance learn from home. So just like we do in flu season, a terrible flu season, we will adjust to meet the demands of what's going on in the community and in our school. Our guiding principles. Really, we had to sit down and think about who we are, our Oakhill family, Safety, obviously, is always important to us. On-campus instruction is important. Academic continuity, the school culture and climate, and of course, the whole child. So as we go through this, you're going to see that family groups, grade level, and classroom groups, cohort groups are going to be a huge part of the plan. The role of you as families, you're going to receive the handbook, which is a very lengthy document. You'll either receive it today or Monday. When you receive that, I really want you to read through that. We have a COVID addendum, which is very similar to what you're hearing today and reading in the plan, but also all of the other parts of the handbook. So we ask that you read that and abide by those policies and procedures this year. Community expectations. Obviously, our goal is to stay open. And in early childhood, it would take a lot, I think, for us to have to close. Again, I don't think anything's a guarantee. I've been asked to guarantee that we're going to do X, Y, and Z. I wish we could guarantee anything in this time. But we will continue to stay open, especially with early childhood. Our plan's built is not built to close. Our plan is built to stay open, and that is our goal. So I think if we as a community can all do our part, we can keep our community healthy and keep Oakhill healthy so we can stay open for business. Just a little bit about this. Well checks, I know you do this anyway, but if your child is sick, please keep them home. That's going to be challenging for us, especially as we head into the height of flu season. So the more you can self-assess your family and your child, the better. Also, I want you to know that as faculty, all summer long, and we'll continue all year, the faculty must fill out a health screening each day before they arrive at school. If they have any symptoms, if they have been in direct contact with someone who is positive, if they have someone in their household who has tested positive, then they have to call Nurse Kathy, who is our COVID coordinator this year. She'll walk them through next steps. So hopefully that will help you understand that the faculty, we're taking it very seriously. And then we go on to reporting. Transparency is very important, again, for the health of our entire community. We also ask that people be respectful. I know that there's going to be cases in which, so-and-so's absent today, they must have COVID. We're really trying as a school community to make sure that doesn't happen. So we just ask that if you can also maintain that respect, that would be wonderful. The other thing that really the Clay County Health Department also said is anything we can do to get our families and students and faculty to get flu shots this year is going to be very important to differentiate flu from COVID as we head into the fall. As I said, Nurse Kathy, luckily we have someone like that here. She's our COVID contact or COVID coordinator for the year. If you have absolutely any questions regarding COVID, she is your first call. You don't need to call me. You don't need to call Sharon, the classroom teacher. All of those people are going to direct you to Nurse Kathy. So that is your contact. Again, we will continue to update information constantly as it evolves. The handbook is even a living document. If and when we change anything, you will be alerted to that. And please know that as we have COVID-19 exposures or cases, that confidentiality is very important to us to respect the family, the student. So we might have to contact a class, we might have to contact an individual, we might have to contact a grade level, a division, a building, or the whole school. But we will not contact the entire school if there's a case in one class. So just know, that's good practice and maintaining that confidentiality. Health and safety. So just so you know, since we closed, I believe it was March 13th is when we closed down campus, our cleaning crew has been in training since then. We have, as you'll hear later, we've hired additional personnel throughout the day. And if you were to walk through this school right now, it is the cleanest I think I've ever seen a school institution. They have been trained. We've been trained by the people who are selling the products. And they are ready to go. So just please know that there's going to be training for everyone, but that cleaning crew, they've been trained for months now. Obviously, we're going to do a lot of education, I'm sure, as you are as parents with your children, on hand washing and how to sneeze and how to cough. We'll have fun videos. I'm sure Nurse Kathy will come in to teach. So we will take that very seriously on role modeling how to handle hand washing and coughing and sneezing. Physical distancing, as you know, is we've learned this summer definitely is a challenge in the early childhood division. The biggest thing we can do is to clean, and we are sanitizing toys. If a toy goes into a child's mouth, it immediately gets put in a bin. That bin every few hours is taken down to the sanitizer, run through the sanitizer, and brought back. So the toys are being cleaned consistently throughout the day. We also have individual sensory bins, individual Play-Doh, things like that, that we're doing to mitigate the risk. And obviously, we're monitoring the physical distancing, but realistically, it's very challenging to keep our early childhood students 6 feet apart. So we'll do all we can. As a school beyond early childhood, because there are other students here, we will be role modeling and ensuring physical distancing is going on in public spaces. We also will have lots of fun signage around the school to help students older than early childhood even, but how to walk in the hallways, go to public restrooms, at entrances and exits. So it should be obvious to anyone involved where they should stand and the distance. Face coverings. I do want to kind of read this because I want to make sure it's as clear as it can be. We are asking all adults to wear masks at all times indoors. Exceptions would include when alone, in a personal office, or outside in distance. So if a classroom teacher is in front of the class teaching and they are farther than 6 feet apart, if they want to put a shield on, in that case, they absolutely can. But for the adults, it's easier to just require that. For students ages 10 and under, as mandated by Clay County, face coverings are not required but recommended during times when physical distancing cannot be maintained. In early childhood, once again, I can foresee them as they walk through the halls to a specials class, or if they were to walk to gym, they would have their face coverings with them to put on. But if they are in a classroom, we are not going to require those face coverings on at that time. Now, once we get to students 10 and over, which in our case would be 4th grade and up, those students will be required to wear face coverings when physical distancing cannot easily be maintained. And again, we will keep abreast of what Clay County is stating as well to make sure we're keeping our community healthy. I also wanted to say that face masks do need to fully cover the mouth and nose and fit snugly. I know it's very challenging, for the younger ones. And some people on here may have students under the age of 2. Obviously, no face coverings ever for those students under the age of 2. The other thing to know, at reading tables or lab tables throughout the school, we're going to use some of the plexiglass partitions to make that easier. And if there are smaller classrooms, we'll be using those as well. So again, if you have questions about that, we're using a common sense approach. And I know that there's a lot of gray area when you say common sense, but our teachers this summer have done an incredible job with that. So I know it's doable, and we can make it comfortable for the students and the teachers. Health screenings. We will be doing temp checks this year on all students. We've done it this summer. It goes very quickly, very efficiently and effectively. So I know that will go well. So we will have trained temperature checkers, and it'll be the touchless kind, and those will be taken very quickly at Carline. So again, as parents, if you can do your role at home, by the time they get to us, the temp check should go quickly and no problems. Attendance. This year, we are going to take attendance more, make it more of a priority than before. So if your child is gone and you do not alert the attendance line, we will be calling. And we just want to make sure, you know, we want to make sure we're keeping a classroom safe in a timely manner. So if your child's absent, we've made it pretty simple. You'll call the main number and simply press 3. You don't even have to talk to anyone. You can just leave that information. Visitors. You know, we pride ourselves in an open door policy. And again, I go back to this is temporary. You know, we are still an Oakhill family. I think limiting visitors to essential will be our best bet, especially at the beginning of the year or the first semester. If you as a parent absolutely need to come in, you'll just go to the main door, our new main door, talk to Sharon, and we will work with you. And obviously in early childhood, we want our students to feel comfortable and safe. So in the beginning, if you are needing to walk your child in, you know, talk to us and we will try to see what we can do to make those happen. It would be a temp check by you as well. And it could not be a daily occurrence just because we are trying to limit foot traffic, but I also want to make sure our youngest students are comfortable coming in. So we'll work with you, but just reach out to us so that we can make that happen with the least amount of foot traffic possible. Cleaning, disinfecting, and sanitizing. I mean, this is really huge. I want to say, if you have specific questions on anything, Catherine Dodson is our Director of Auxiliary and she oversees facilities. She would be happy to talk to you about any product in detail, our cleaning procedures and protocol. So I'm not going to get highly into that in this presentation, but she's more than happy to share that information with you. We have added 2 full-time day crew personnel. And if you were to walk through the hallways right now, they are constantly cleaning high-touch surfaces and public restrooms all day long. The teachers will also have a very specific cleaning protocol within their classrooms where they will be cleaning high-touch surfaces all day long. Other things just to note, we have a cleaning schedule for the playgrounds. So every class has a distinct time when they will go out and then the cleaning crew will come through to clean those surfaces. We have electrostatic sprayers to disinfect rooms 2 to 3 times per week in the evenings. We've added door pulls for the public restrooms so you don't have to touch the door handle. We have clear face shields available for staff and students in various classes, especially music class. Plexiglass dividers for the front offices at each campus. We do have food safe quality disinfectants for the lunchroom with a 1-minute kill time. For hospital grade disinfectants, we're using Oxivir 516. And currently for the kitchen, we're using BioEsk. So for those of you looking into that, those are a couple of names. Hand sanitizer stations throughout, touchless soap dispensers in the public restrooms, touchless faucets. We've changed the filters in the HVAC units to the MERV 13 if you want to look into that. And of course, signage throughout the school for physical distancing. You know, early childhood is probably the division out of this whole school that cleans all day long. This is really nothing new to them. They wash hands so frequently. They clean their own toys and their own tables and chairs. So it has been really easy this summer for those personnel to make all of these things happen within their classroom as well. Water fountains, they won't be able to drink out of the water fountain, but they will have the water bottle refill station. So please send your child with a clean water bottle each day and we'll make sure they have plenty of liquids. Classroom practices and cleaning. Again, just so you know what's going on with the whole school, in the lower, intermediate, and middle school divisions, they're going to do their best to separate the students' desks to allow personal space. In some situations, in smaller classrooms, some of the teachers are opting for some of the desk shield dividers to help. We'll have outdoor instruction more than ever. Experiential instruction will be incredible. Several outdoor classroom options as well. So if a teacher wants to take kiddos out, they can do that, and several indoor spaces with room to spread out. If a teacher wanted to utilize the commons for a class, they absolutely could. Specifically for early childhood, again, cleaning is the most important practice we can do. As I mentioned, individual sensory bins, individual supplies, and toy disinfection. So I believe that, again, we've had that practice going on and it's worked well this year. I'm going to now quickly turn it over to Nurse Kathy. I want her to walk through our COVID-19 response plan flowchart and information, and then I'll be back in a few.
Good morning. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present this COVID response plan to you. We are going to ask parents to monitor their child every morning before arriving to school. If your child is ill, please keep them at home. If your child becomes ill while they're at school, they will be sent home if they have a temp over 100.3 and if they present with any of 2 or more of the COVID symptoms. Students will need to stay home for 20 or 72 hours to monitor their symptoms. They may return to school prior to the 72 hours if they're seen by their doctor and they're giving a note to return stating that they either had a negative test or a test wasn't necessary because COVID is not suspected. Okay, so if a teacher or student tests positive for COVID and or are exhibiting common symptoms of COVID, they will be asked to self-isolate at home and follow the instructions per their healthcare provider. If a student or teacher tests positive without symptoms, they're asked to self-isolate at home, do not leave for 10 days after their positive test. If we do have a positive case at school, we will act immediately to work with the health department and do extensive contact tracing to determine who and what areas of the school were directly affected. Our goal is to keep our community safe and healthy at the same time keeping the kids at school. We will not react by closing the entire school unless mandated by Clay County Health, and we will take each individual case as it comes. So if a teacher or a teacher's spouse or partner, a student's parent, or a person that shares the household with somebody that tested positive, they are asked to self-quarantine and stay home for 14 days. Call your healthcare provider for any further instructions. If a teacher or student has been notified by the state or local health department that they've been in close contact, they are asked to self-quarantine for 14 days since the last contact with the infected case. A close contact is defined as someone who you've been closer than 6 feet for more than 15 minutes. Okay, so once you have had COVID, or the student, the teacher or student has had positive COVID, they may return to school. If you've not had a test to determine if you're still contagious, you can come back to work or school after these 3 things have happened. You have not had a fever for 24 hours unaided by a fever reducer. Your other symptoms have improved, and it's been at least 10 days have passed since your symptoms first appeared. If you've had a test to determine whether or not you're still contagious, you can come back to school or work if you no longer have the fever, if your symptoms have improved, and if you've received 2 negative tests in a row at least 24 hours apart. So I'm going to share this flow chart with you. This is kind of a condensed version of everything I have just explained. This is as far as a student having symptoms of COVID.
Thanks, Kathy. We appreciate that. And, for all of you parents out there, just know how much research and work has gone into that. And I think you'll be impressed if you talk to Nurse Kathy. If you have a COVID question, she's going to be able to answer it. All right, small class sizes. I do want to say that, we have approximately 350 students spread out across 2 campuses. We have no more than 16 students in a classroom space at any given time. No more than 32 students are in a gym or recess space at any given time. And no more than 50 students would be in a cafeteria or common space at any given time. So all of this is going to help mitigate the spread and also assist with contact tracing. Rosters. So we're going to have a parent preview on August 12th. It's a brand new event that we're really excited about. Your students do stay at home for this event, but you will come and we'll have lots of information for you that night and people to talk to. You'll also receive your classroom teacher information that night. So we look forward to seeing you on the 12th. Staggered start and end times to the school day. Even though we're so small, we really want to reduce the volume of students arriving or dismissing at any given time, and especially with the temp checks. We'll be utilizing at the main campus 3 or 4 doors at all times for entrance and exit, but still having a smaller group. So once again, all of this information is detailed in the handbook that you're going to receive, what door to arrive at, what door to pick up at. But this kind of gives you an idea. So early childhood, you will start school at 8:40 and you will end school at 3:40. And we did that on purpose with early childhood and middle school, just because we know sometimes it's harder to get early childhood around, and middle school, actually studies show they need to sleep in more. So that's why we chose those 2 grade levels. So car line, again, you'll have a car line designated time. You will drive through as normal. Temp checks will occur. And then if your child, of course, has a temperature, they would stay with you and you would drive off. Otherwise, they would come right in the door. Same thing for car line dismissal. We'll have the same car lines as normal as well. So again, all of that will be in the handbook. And of course, if you have questions, please reach out, especially if you're new to Oakhill. Food service. I'll talk specifically about early childhood. Early childhood will be eating lunch in their classrooms this year. And that means actually pre-toddler through preschool will eat in the classrooms. Pre-K will eat in the commons, but they will be the only ones in the commons, and they will have plenty of room to spread out in there. We have cut the capacity of the tables in half this year for the commons. So again, the only thing they will be touching is their tray. When we do put the trays up in pre-K, it'll be a whole new system. They won't be congregating to do that. In the classroom, we've been doing that this summer, family style in the classroom, and it has gone really well. The students and teachers have really enjoyed it. So we are excited about that. The other thing to note, snacks will continue as normal. There will be fresh fruits, vegetables, and dry snacks prepared by the food and beverage service. And then the teachers will go down at a certain time with tubs to pick those up and take those back as well. So just, again, early childhood will look a little bit different than the rest of the school with that. Also, our spirit shop or mercantile, if you ever go in there, prepackaged snacks will be available. Any booster club or event food and snacks, all sellable snacks will be wrapped in individual packaging. There were a couple questions that came through about birthdays and holiday parties. Birthday treats, obviously we still welcome that. You could either go through the food service program to have Justin and crew help you with that, or send prepackaged. We'd be more than happy to do that as normal as well. Obviously for birthday parties right now, we're going to get started and get going and reevaluate that as time goes on. So we'll let you know. And there are also creative ways to do that. So again, if you have ideas that are creative, we are all ears, and we will also have subcommittees working on that as well. So teaching and learning. This slide talks a little bit about Oakhill at school, which is on campus in person, Oakhill at home, which means distance learning, and that would be for grades 1 through 8 if it was a mandated shutdown of non-public schools. And then remote learning, that would be in place for any student who has to be quarantined, any student who is ill for a period of time, or for any student who has health concerns and who cannot come in person, or for parents who are uncomfortable sending their child back in person. So that's a little bit about the difference of Oakhill at home, which is distance learning, and the remote learning. Now, again, we are talking early childhood. We do not anticipate a closure. It would mean that the local, state, or federal government would close down all daycare facilities, would be the only way that would happen. If that happens, we have teachers who have worked since last April creating a distance learning plan. Miss Robbins and Mrs. Lafferty were a part of that crew from early childhood. So we do have an emergency distance learning plan in place, which has many more enhancements than what you saw this spring. So if that were to happen, we feel like we're ready to go and to make that happen. Special classes. You know, I know a lot of districts out there are eliminating specials, and we have chosen not to do that. That is a big part, I believe, of why you as parents want to send your children here and why it's our foundation of our school. So we will continue with special classes. Students will travel to the special classes unless restrictions are deemed necessary. I know some schools are having the specialists go to the homeroom classrooms. As I say to our teachers, if I'm a homeroom teacher, that's my house that I live in. My room is my house, and it's my job to keep it clean. I feel the same way with specialists. If I am a music teacher, that is my home to keep clean, and I'll do it my way. So that is why we've chosen to have the students travel to the specials, is so that we can maintain cleanliness from the special teachers in their spaces. With art, art actually for early childhood is integrated. Music, the children in class, you know, one of the things that Children's Mercies come out with as well is that children should not be singing without face shields or without face coverings if they are not outside. So we will try to have class outside as much as possible. We will still sing inside, but there will probably be masks involved in that situation. And the music teachers are definitely looking at curriculum so that they can develop innovative plans because of those limitations for now. Again, temporary, but for now. Spanish, again, really just the distancing in the classroom will be handled. And Techbrary, you know, she is actually going to go into the early childhood classrooms for read alouds. And for now, the early childhood students in preschool and down will not check out books. Pre-K will check out during a once-a-week Techbrary class in the library or the Techbrary space. So, and again, these procedures can change throughout. We'll find what works and, you know, what we need to tighten up, etc. Recess, of course, recess is more important than ever. So we will continue with what we do with recess. Ms. Robbins has helped create a recess schedule for each grade level in early childhood, and they will adhere to that schedule. The cleaning crew has that schedule and will be cleaning between classes just to make sure we're as safe as possible outside. Athletics, I know early childhood that doesn't really apply. Just do know that, you know, we're still working with the league to see kind of what's going to be in place, but spectation, you know, the spectators will be limited in the gym for those games currently. Physical education, we've had a great summer again to practice this. We have a system down where equipment goes in a barrel or a bin, and then it's cleaned at the end of the day. So we have lots of equipment, luckily, and are able to do that. So during indoor PE, again, with early childhood, it's a little bit different because it's not required, but other classes would have to wear face coverings if not able to distance. And of course, outside, they would not. With early childhood, they're not required to wear those face coverings. Kids Club. I know there are a lot of questions about Kids Club. Taylor Clevenger, first of all, has done a phenomenal job this summer, but he has a very detailed handbook with all the questions I think that you'll have answered. He is actually sending that out this afternoon. So if I'll do my best to go through this, but he'll have all of that information for you. The big thing about Kids Club, we really need to stay in family groups, which our family groups are, again, our classroom or grade level. So for example, pre-K students who need extended day, whether it's before school or after school, would be in pre-K classrooms. And our hope is to get pre-K teachers to actually do that supervision. So that's what we're working on currently. We did shorten the hours of Kids Club. I do know that we're wanting to work with everyone. If your job is such that absolutely you cannot pick up by 5, you have no other alternatives, reach out to Taylor. We're trying to help. We're doing our best. It may be a little different after 5 if we have to do that. But do know he's trying hard. Staffing has become a little more challenging because we have to keep stable staffing and we have to keep stable groups. So I appreciate your understanding on that as well. And again, more about the Kids Club. One of the things, because of stable groupings that we did this summer that worked well and we're going to continue to do, is not having drop-in services for that. We'll know who's coming each day. It'll help with contact tracing and it'll help us with staffing. Clubs and after-school classes. If there are after-school classes offered for early childhood, they will be grade level once again. And we will have virtual tutoring sessions and in-person virtual music lessons if interested. Our Panther parties, buddy families, and reading buddies are a huge part of who we are. We will find a way, but it has to be different. So just know that, again, we have talented faculty working on creative ideas and ways to make these events happen in a very safe environment. Again, it may have to be virtual, it may have to be outdoors. So we'll stand by and we will let you know as those events come up how we're going to handle those. If we have any of you interested in Panthers on the Prowl, those again will be grade level. And so because the first temp check happened probably at around 8:30 a.m., any student who goes to an after-school athletic practice or event will have a little mini health check prior to that session just to make sure they're still feeling well. And a lot of those will be outside and, of course, non-contact. Before school clubs, we're still working on those right now. When we do offer these, they will be grade level as well to keep those cohorts together. Field trips, field trips only affect preschool and pre-K in early childhood. Right now, we've suspended field trips until further notice, looking at creative ideas and creative ways to make those come to life. Lots of opportunities also for virtual field trips right now. So again, if you have questions, let us know, but we're going to try to find creative alternatives currently. School events. We have lots of subcommittees working behind the scenes to evaluate these events. They are all still on the calendar, and they're on the calendar because as time goes on, we are going to look and adapt, modify, or perhaps suspend events at the school as we deem appropriate. So just know that because they're on the calendar doesn't mean that we're business as usual. It just means that we're leaving them there as a placeholder. And as we get closer, we'll let you know. For instance, Grandparents' Day will be virtual this year. You'll get more information about that. And our carnival is changing just for this year to a food truck festival. You'll hear more information about that. So events are still important to us, but we do want to keep our community safe, and we'll do that by modifying those events. PTO. Obviously, PTO has lots of great events, from your holiday classroom parties to dances. They're working behind the scenes with the school to try to find ideas for creative and adaptable events. We'll also have PTO coffees and meetings. They might be in person while distancing, or they might be virtual. So just know that the holiday parties, Halloween will be our first party. We'll have time to think about that and to identify what we need to do in a creative manner to make those happen. Just a little bit so you know, kind of as a school-wide vision, we do have a wellness counselor this year, Maggie Chandler. She will be working with all students throughout the school and all families. If your family needs anything from her, She introduced herself in the last Acorn, but feel free to reach out to her as well. I do want to say that between her and Brenda Bach, her new role is Student Success Specialist. She's going to be there to modify and accommodate for students to make sure they're achieving their fullest potential. She'll also help with behavioral concerns, in the various grade levels as well. But I see the child as a center of a bicycle spoke on a wheel, and all of these spokes are support pieces. So you've got your homeroom teacher, you have specialists, you have administrators, Brenda as the student success specialist, Maggie Chandler as the wellness counselor, and family. So I really feel like we're here to hold that student up, and just know that we have all of these pieces in place to do just that. Again, Brenda, that's a little bit about her as student success specialist. Feel free to reach out to her for personalized approaches. And then a remote learning coordinator. Trish Stripling this year is going to act as our remote learning coordinator. Again, this is for any family who is uncomfortable coming back in person. This is for any student who is unable due to health concerns to come back in person. This is for students who are ill for an extended period of time. We want to make sure that learning continues. So if that happens to be the case for your family, you would reach out to me or to Dorothy Beckham, and then we would put you in contact with Trish Stripling, who would then identify that personal approach for your family. Again, a little bit more of what I just said about remote learning. We want to make sure that we're helping you. Again, this is temporary. And so I know this time can be scary for some families, uncomfortable for some families, and we want to help you get through it and still be connected to Oakhill. And then the distance learning plan. It is a very extensive plan. We do have, as I said, the emergency plan for early childhood and kindergarten, but otherwise early childhood and kindergarten would remain on campus unless daycares are forced to shut down. So for the conclusion, if you have any questions, please know. I mean, people say, "Oh, I bet you're too busy." That's what we're here for. If you have questions or concerns specific to your family or needs specific to your family, that's why you're at Oakhill. Okay, so our doors are open. You can call us, you can email us. We will get back to you within 24 hours or sooner. But please know, Dorothy and I are here to answer those questions, and we want to be your first stop for those questions to be answered. So thank you for being here today. I hope I've answered many of your questions, but again, if you have more, please reach out and ask. It's better to know than to make assumptions. Thank you so much. Have a great day. We look forward to seeing you soon.